The scourge of bullying in schools has attracted the wrath of authorities who vow to end the vice in the learning environment. The Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education has said it was concerned of the increase of bullying reports, and it has dispatched teams into various provinces to address the issue and other related issues such as drug and substance abuse.
Last Friday, President Emmerson Mnangagwa emphasized that bullying has no place in the education system and that penalties should be imposed on perpetrators. This follows a series of cases related to bullying, with one incident in Bulawayo cited to have led to the death of a Form 3 learner at Hamilton High.
Recently, videos circulated of some learners being bullied, raising outrage. A spokesperson in the ministry, Taunga Nandoro, said bullying has no place in schools.
We worried, and we are in, right now as I am speaking, we are in our schools, head office teams, provincial office teams, district teams this week and last week. We're talking about bullying amongst the host of other issues, right? But bullying is also very key. Bullying in schools is not tolerated at all in all our schools. All schools that provide primary and secondary education do not tolerate bullying, and it is our policy as a ministry that each and every school should have a policy against bullying, and that policy should be well articulated to all the pupils and all the parents at those schools. They should understand that these are the acts of bullying and this is what is not tolerated, and these are the consequences depending on the gravity of the bullying that may have occurred.
Now, what should be done to ensure that, such incidents of bullying are actually curbed?
We are doing our part. We've done our part, but we need a multi-sectoral approach wherein members of the community, community leaders, councillors, members of parliament, parents, guardians, and other stakeholders come together. Wherever they witness bullying outside school premises, they intervene.
So what should be done when a learner is found guilty of bullying? Those are some of the questions I think that we need to start unpacking if we're to try and deal with this vice. And Candace, I kind of feel like, one of the big challenges that we have when it comes to bullying is our perception and understanding of it. I think too often it has been normalized, especially in the school system, where it almost becomes a rite of passage. I know, in most instances, when you become like a Form 1 student, it's almost, it's almost accepted, and it's something that we need to maybe consistently remind ourselves that it is not right, even though it might happen regularly, I guess.
Like you're rightfully saying, sometimes when you move into Form 1 from primary school, you do tend to then fall victim to a lot of this. They call it a hazing in schools. Like you're saying, rightfully, they look at it as a rite of passage, welcoming you into the system and letting you know that it's a tough world. But it is actually very damaging, and I don't think we understand just how far the action can go towards damaging a pupil's self-esteem. For example, it can affect their ability to learn, it can affect their ability to interact with other people, it can affect their ability to actually just grow up and be an upstanding citizen. The problem I think that we first need to address is rightfully that reimagining the school system, reshaping how we welcome people into school, especially if you're transitioning, because it's not just Form 1s that go through this, it's new kids as well. And sometimes it's even just a kid that they think is weak anyway, who's always been there, but they think that they're weak. So it's reshaping how we interact in schools, forcing our children to think more about the actions that they take, the things that they say, and emphasizing that they need to be a lot kinder. But also getting the authorities on board and saying, look, if this is reported, then punitive action has to be taken. I know we've talked about this before, and at some point we did mention that some of these things are also psychological. You'll find a bully was bullied at one point or is going through a bad situation at home and needs somebody to take it out on because nobody they don't have an outlet, they don't have anyone to talk to, they don't have anyone to listen to them. So one of the other things that also is important is when we've got guidance counselors in school, those are some of the people that need to be engaged, those are some of the people that need to be actively talking to students and making sure that all our students, I know there's a lot of students in schools, guys, but when we take time to notice their behavior patterns, it's a lot easier to pick up when someone is going through something and therefore talking to them and kind of preventing some of this behavior that comes about.
And in terms of maybe trying to create an environment where we can actually address this, you spoke about punitive measures, maybe looking at things like suspension, maybe in extreme cases, expulsion. But do you think those can be effective, or we also need to look at maybe trying to engage both the people who bully and the ones who are bullied to try and understand why this is happening a bit more so we can unpack it a little bit better?
I think it has to be case by case, honestly. There are times when, like I've said, there are measures that can be taken to addressing it within the school system itself. But you also run the risk of sending someone home who just really has problems at home. You're sending them to now stew in that situation. And ultimately, it could then lead us to a bad apple, an entirely bad apple that grows up and does not care about their actions, does not care about the impact of their actions, because, well, look, nobody showed me any kindness anyway, so why should I show it to other people? So case by case, there are situations that will call for suspension, that will call for expulsion, but I think we have to find solutions within the schooling system itself that then deal with this and make it a carry forward situation that, look, we are fixing our children one child at a time.
Yeah, I think we can always engage, especially maybe when it comes to issues of like school rivalry. We can find healthier ways, maybe just, out-sing each other when you're supporting your team. But yeah, so many things that we need to do holistically to try and make sure that we end this scourge, especially with the growing trend of these bullying incidences, sometimes resulting in death. I mean, we've talked about suicide. So it is disturbing. But